Hello, welcome to UG-Sakai 145 Food and Nutrition Everyday Life. My name is Matilda Stein-Isedu, and I'm going to take you through this course. Today we shall have an overview where we shall look at the course outline and then do some understanding of some definitions that you need throughout the course. Yes. So your reading list is Latin. You can find it online. Once you Google Latin MC, you'll find it online. And then also, when you go to the Sakai, you have handouts that are posted on the site for you. And then you can also use any other nutrition textbook that you find convenient. Yes. So throughout the course, we shall go through the overview, which we shall do today. We shall talk about macronutrients, micronutrients, and then water. And I want to stress that water is also a nutrient. We shall consider the food resources that we have available. We shall talk about food safety, which is very, very important in nutrition, because when we eat food and it is not safe, we get infections, and then the food eating work than zero. We shall talk about energy balance, which has to do with our weight, and then we shall also talk about breastfeeding, which is very, very important in our part of the world, especially Africa. And then we shall talk about food fadism, which is also taking place in Ghana. People are using foods which are not supposed to be food. And then we shall talk about food habits and how they relate to our nutrition, and then why food processing, especially our traditional processes, are important to us in Ghana. So let's start rolling. What is food? We shall talk about that. We shall talk about what is science, what is nutrition, what are nutrients. These are basic concepts that you should be able to understand before you can understand the whole concept of food and nutrition in everyday life. When we talk about food, food is anything that is solid or liquid that is eaten and does not cause harm to the body. So anything can be eaten as food, but we have to make sure that it does not cause harm to the body. So it's from liquid all the way to solid. And food means different to different people. So what it means that if you do not take any particular food, doesn't mean that you should look down upon that food. It is very, very important that you understand why the people are taking that part. And also note that culture plays an important role when it comes to food. Food also gives us energy, forms the material for growth, maintenance of our body, repair of our body tissues, reproduction, and help in regulation of so many processes in our body. So anything that can perform these functions, we consider them to be food. What is food science? Food science is the science that deals with the application of engineering, biology, and physics to study the foods that we eat, the foods that we eat, their nature, how they spoil very fast, and how to keep them so that in the long run we can prolong the shelf life. This is very, very important, especially since most of our foods are perishable. So understanding of food science is critical to nutrition. Then, what is nutrition itself? It is the science that deals with how the body receives and utilizes the various components of food to maintain good health. And if for children, for their growth, you need food. And for adults, basically, we are maintaining. So anybody who's above 18 years, we are maintaining our body, so we need nutrients to do that. And when we talk of nutrition, if you are not eating well, that can result in malnutrition. And when we talk of malnutrition, we have two sides of it. We have the overnutrition, where we are consuming more of the nutrients that we need or eating more food. And then we also have undernutrition. That is when one is not having enough of food, and therefore one may be lacking some essential nutrients. So both over and undernutrition have negative effects on our body and hence health. What are nutrients? These are the chemical substances that are found in food, chemical substances found in food. So any particular food that you eat, you find out it contains some nutrients, and the nutrients are specific to any particular food. That is why we need to eat diversified foods. And the nutrients are made up of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Note that water is also a nutrient, hence important to drink water. Of late, we are seeing that there's a shift in the way we eat, and that is what is known as nutrition transition. Nutrition transition. People are moving away from what the usual diet is to a diet that is not very healthy. diets that are high in fats and that do not contain fiber. And also people are also becoming more sedentary. People are not moving about. People are using more cars, not walking. And that is what we call sedentary lifestyle. So the outcome of the nutrition transition, that's Ghana and most of the developing countries in Africa, we are going through. The outcome of this is the increase in non-communicable diseases that we are experiencing now. An example is overweight, obesity, heart diseases, hypertension, and so forth, all because of the nutrition transition. We are not making healthy choices, and this is affecting our health in the country. So changing from one food to the other is a problem that we are experiencing in Ghana. What are the food sources that are available to us to choose from? We have both plant and animal source foods. Both sources are good, but there may be challenges depending upon the quality of that particular food, and also how that food is processed will also affect the quality. So processing of the food is also very, very important. Although some processes are bad, others are good because they transform the food into another form that will encourage people to eat. For example, we convert our cassava into fufu. That is a typical example. We also convert our cassava into gari. It's also another good example, and the gari usually has a longer shelf life. It doesn't spoil, it can stay for long. And when we talk of processing, it can occur at home and then also in the food industry. When we talk of the food industry, we have the large ones like Nestle, we also have the Lever Brothers and so forth. They are processing all kinds of foods. Yes, but in our homes, we also do our own cooking, and that is also another form of processing. And then we also have the local food processes. For example, those who have been processing the plantain chips that we buy by the roadside and so forth. These are also food processes, but at the local level. They have not gone large and gone international, but at the local level. So we have home, then we have the food processing at the local level, as well as the industrial level, which is very huge. And a typical example, we have the Nestle, the Lever Brothers, and so forth. And then even those who make the biscuits, Piccadilly, these are all food processing. Yes, and the end product of our processing is to make the food easily available to us, edible, and then very attractable, and then also make marketing very easy when we take the food industry. That is why they do this processing. It's easily available to us, so we do not even need to process some of them. They can be eaten as is. And one major reason why people are demanding for these processed foods, because right now most of our women are going into the working force, and therefore they need foods that are already processed to make life easy when they come home. And then also another major reason is the prolonging of shelf life. And if you recall, I mentioned gari, which is made from cassava. Cassava has a very short shelf life, but when it is processed into gari, it can stay for long. Tomato is also another one with a very short life, but when it is processed into the tomato paste, we can also get it easily to use. In the developing world, what we are seeing is that most of our fresh products do not stay long, and that is a major challenge. So it is up to you as students also to think of ways. Some of you can have your own food processing in your backyard when you graduate. And let us also think of implication of food and nutrition security, yes, to our farm families. This is also very, very important. As we also depend on our local foods, we are also helping our families. So it is up to us as students also, as we undergo this course, to learn to promote our local food so that our farm families can also sell their products and have some money. Yes, globalization and nutrition transition is a challenge, because right now foods that we didn't used to have in Ghana, now we have all these foods around, and this is actually influencing the way we eat. And that is an aspect of the nutrition transition that we are going in because of globalization of market systems. Markets have become closer. Now we have all the malls, all the foreign things that you can see in America, in UK, in Germany, and so forth. You can get everything on our market here. And people are making those choices to go for them at the expense of our local foods, and therefore it's also affecting the way we eat, and this has implications on our health. And more so, we are seeing it more of overweight now becoming a problem, overweight and or obesity becoming a problem in our part of the world. And if you take Accra, for example, it wasn't crowded as it is now, but now it is crowded. So most of the lands that were used for food production have all gone into housing, and that of course has implication of our local foods being available to us to use. And then another area that is of a challenge is fast food industry is also growing at a very fast rate. So most people are just stopping by to buy food instead of making foods at home, and that also has implications. And one thing, especially when we look at the local food joints, the quality of water is a challenge that we need to consider. That could be a source of contamination that we should be thinking about. So for today, this is just a brief of what it is. Read your notes, make sure you understand everything, and as I said earlier on, you can send me an email if you have any challenge. So for your take home, list 2 foods that you would consider unhealthy based upon what we have discussed so far, and also for each food item, list or give reason why you think it is unhealthy. So I'll meet you next week, and we shall start with macronutrients. Don't forget, your readings are important, and make sure you read before coming to class. See you next week.